I'm Dennis Smith. I am not a techno nerd particularly. I used to be. I'm a kind of retired from that and many other things. Um, as many folks have done, so months ago, I started to get upset with Twitter. Twitter was my main source of inspirational materials. Facebook, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And I still use those occasionally, and the things I post on Mastodon generally go to both of those too. I don't look at Instagram much because it seems like 80% of my feed is ads. Facebook is generally a little more useful. But what happened as the Twitter was taken over and it started to do silly things, a lot of people moved to Mastodon, and I went and started and taught myself how to do that too. So the purpose of this talk is to show you a little bit about what it's like and a little bit of how to use it and how to get set up and how to get running. So with that, I'm going to talk about what it is, how it's different than Twitter, pros and cons, selling on Mastodon, which I don't do, but I sent out a query and got lots of responses back about people who do sell on it. I'm going to demonstrate the browser interface and the app that I use, because I do most of it on an iOS app. Explain how to sign up, join up, and then talk about curation. And as you'll see, you do need to curate more because there isn't an algorithm that controls everything you see here. So you do a lot more. There are many places that you can sign up to Mastodon. I use mastodon.art. And now that I'm a couple months into it, it really feels like a community. I know and communicate and talk with many of the people. If you send messages to the curators and the moderators and all those people, they actually generally answer you back within an hour or two. So if you need help and need personal contact somewhere, it's really easy to get here on .art. Other instances of Mastodon may be different. This is where my experience is. Okay, so with that, let's go. So what is it? It's a peer network. There's not one big business owner who controls it. It's a collection of servers, or which the jargon in Mastodon is called instances. And there are thousands of those, and you can join any one of them. So when you go connect into a community, you connect to the one, but you can see all the users on all of the servers. And I'll show more about what that's like later. There are at least dozens, if not hundreds, of client applications that you can choose. Most of them are free. A few of them are paid. The one I'm going to show you my demo of today, I think I pay $15 a year for, and that's part of why I think the support and things are better. But the place where all the data comes from, I don't pay anything for. The Mastodon standard is controlled by a foundation. It's a not-for-profit. It's been around, I don't remember if it's like 4 years or 7 years. It's been around for a while. And it's a bunch of fanatics about doing this kind of a thing who take care of the standards. Again, no fees charged. I do send them $1 a month via some tipping software, but you really don't have to. Questions so far?
So is Mastodon, so is the foundation kind of akin to the Open Software Foundation?
Yes, it's a nonprofit foundation that controls the standard. They do have open software. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. So how is it different than Instagram and Facebook and Twitter? There's no algorithm that determines what you see. So there's no filter. So everyone you follow, you see every post they make in the order that they posted it. So I know I get occasionally frustrated that most of the posts from BVAA about events, I see 2 or 3 days after the event, because that's how Facebook has decided to do that. But here you see everything in the order posted, and I'll show you what that looks like today. There's no single point of ownership. The foundation controls the standard, but it's all open source software. So anyone can build an instance, anyone can build a client. If the foundation that controls it decided to do something wacky, somebody else could start up another foundation if they wanted to. Just people move over there. That's just how it is. The other thing, because it's open, any post or page you can share to persons not having accounts. I know I get links to people like restaurants who only have Facebook accounts, and I'm not logged into Facebook, so you can't see anything. But I can actually share my entire account or any post or any picture off of Instagram to anyone I want to, and they can look at it without having to log in or even have an account on Mastodon. So as far as sharing, that helps a lot. So now when someone wants to see one of my old pictures, I send them a Mastodon link, and they can use that and look around elsewhere. Questions? All right. So how big is it? Well, this is just for Mastodon. This is only, you see, this is not just Mastodon.social. This is the whole thing, but I have not verified the accuracy of this. But this was like as of 3 days ago. And if you look at the blue, you can see that there are about 10 million active users every day. And hourly, I can't quite read the thing on the right, hourly users are in the 1,500 range. Nothing like the numbers you'll see on Facebook and Twitter, but it's more of an art community, the server I'm on, so the numbers are less significant. At the bottom, you can see active instances, and you can see there are about 1,200 instances active. Now, the blips in these two charts tend to occur when Musk does something stupid. Because that gets a lot of people to say, I'm going to go and not use this anymore and start looking around for other things. And in fact, a couple of months ago, when he did the blue star thing, the authorized account thing, there were so many new users that several instances couldn't keep up with the new registrations. They were getting like 1,000 a second, I think was the number, were the peak numbers they saw. So they actually had to shut down sign-ons for a while. Even I haven't seen that again. So I haven't seen that in the past few weeks, but Mastodon.art was one of them that had to do that. But right now you can go and sign up and shouldn't have any difficulty at all. All right. Pros and cons. Because there isn't an algorithm, you have to curate what you see. If you're mainly using social media to sell, you may be in the habit of just posting stuff and not worrying so much about what you see. I tend to use it for inspiration, so I do curate it, and I'll talk more at the end about how I curate. But you need to pay a little attention. For instance, people can boost or share other people's posts. Earlier today, someone who I had just followed decided to boost 50 posts in a row. And so I actually went in and turned off their ability to boost, and because I like their art. But so that's part of the curation process. Everything's mostly free. Most people ask for donations. We kind of talked about that. There are no system suggestions. So you have to find people to follow. I'm going to explain how I do that and how you can easily go about that to get started. You have to pick a server to get started. And for artists, I recommend .art. But you can change servers. In fact, I have. I started out on a server called c.im. Don't ask me how I found that, but I did. And I moved over to .art, and all of your followers come with you when you move. But your collection of people you follow don't, and your past toots, posted messages are called toots here, don't migrate. So it's a little bit of work, but you can do it. I was probably following 75 people at the time. I actually went back to my old place and found them all, and the ones I wanted to follow and didn't follow some of them.
I
Go
I have
ahead.
a question. So I'm just a little clarification. So there's Mastodon, but then
Yep.
there's Mastodon Art, there's Mastodon Social, there's Mastodon, and they're all different platforms, so they don't cross over.
They are all the same platform, and those are different. Think of it as different servers, and they all talk to each other.
Okay.
So from any one of them, you could look at anybody on any other platform. It's just that you've got a home platform and then a neighborhood that you can go stroll through, and then you can stroll through the universe, and I'll show you what that looks like during the demo.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. Thank you.
So if you're interested in two completely different things, you don't need to set up you don't need to set up a presence on a second server.
You are correct. You don't. You can actually go, and I'll show you, you can go into the universe and search for hashtags or wherever you want and find people from all different servers and get both of them. Now, I tend to follow watercolor art. I follow a few photographers and lots of photographers. I found a few that I think are excellent, and I follow them. I follow two news sources, one of which is a bot that copies Slashdot from Twitter, so I get that news. But you can get at anybody from anywhere, so one account will do.
Great.
All right. So the last thing, and this one's a little peculiar, but I haven't seen any problem with it. The sysadmin for your server blocks their choice of inappropriate servers and users. It's conceivable that a hostile server could go and overwhelm a server. So the sysadmins block spammers, fraudsters, porn, and ineptly managed servers that might cause a problem for them. I've never had somebody I wanted to follow that I couldn't, but some entire servers are blocked. You can go to the homepage of the server you use, and they all post lists of what they have banned. And I have gone to .art and looked at what they have banned, and thank you very much for that. That's kind of how I feel about it. So, other questions about this page? All right, hashtags. Hashtags work just like they do everywhere else. But here, people use hashtags all the time, but the hashtags don't show how often your toots are shown because there's no algorithm that boots popular based on hashtags or anything. So you can do searches on hashtags. You can put hashtags in so other people can find your work. So for instance, I usually use hashtag watercolor. I often hashtag the location I'm using. And when you're doing different things that the curators have suggested, you put in the hashtags they think so people can search and follow them. There is one hashtag I follow, but just one. But I have searched on many hashtags, but there is a hashtag that's commonly used for oil painting, watercolors, and innumerable other things. The administrator suggests, because of the way hashtags work here, that you limit to 4 hashtags per post, but you rotate between a bigger collection as with your different posts. If someone finds you with one hashtag and goes and looks at your site, they'll see all of your other stuff. Looks at your page, they'll see all your other stuff. And part of the reason for that is particularly .art is very sensitive to people with disabilities. Apparently .art has a lot of people who use screen readers. So if you use a screen reader, hashtags are read. So if you put in 60 hashtags, it'll continue to read through all of the nonsense hashtags that you put up. So he hasn't put a suggestion even. But my personal policy, if there are more than 6 hashtags, I don't boost it. I don't share it with my followers.
Right, and the recommendation for Twitter was always 3 for the same reason, that it's a text-based primarily system,
Yeah.
and you want to have the text be as valuable as possible.
Yeah, and but I'll tell you, a lot of people don't pay attention to it.
Yep.
Well, Twitter has the character limit too, which kind of forces you to be economical on what you put in your posts.
Yeah, yeah, it does. But you know,
And in Instagram, you can hashtag as many as you want, and you can search for anything, any
Well,
hashtag.
Instagram actually has a limit. The limit's, I think, 39, and they
Oh
will
my
block you
God.
if you try to put more than that. But yes, it's much larger than 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's interesting, but similar. So that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But I think a lot of people take their hashtag list that they use on all the other social media sites and put them in here. And particularly annoying to me is the ones who list them serially and take up 39 lines with the number of hashtags they've used. But
Yep.
yeah. So anyway, okay, hashtags. Selling. So I don't try to sell yet. I may, especially after this. So I put out a question, which the curator, this is the guy who basically runs the content on Mastodon.art, and asked him about selling. And he boosted it, and about 30 other people responded with various aspects of selling. But what I was thinking was interesting here, and I don't know how to, I guess I can't point. These are in reverse chronological order, but if you could look down at the bottom, is this guy had 5,000 in Facebook, 4,000 in Twitter, and 20,000 in Instagram, never sold anything on Twitter and Instagram, some on Facebook. But then if you jump up, you'll see the top one, for context, he thinks he's successful. He's selling about $1,000 a month with 80% through Mastodon with no external links, and 20% through Ko-Fi, which I've never heard of.
Okay.
He may be in Europe, which may be why I've never heard of it. I don't actually know where this is. So it can work. I was going to run some experiments and see. I don't think I have enough followers to really do much good there, but hey, what the heck? It's easy. And I've got 300 paintings here that I'm losing patience with storing. So, all right, moving on. Alt tags. This int.art particularly recommends you put alt tags on all your photographs. Those are added again for screen readers. A screen reader will read the alt tags, and the admin requests that all the photos are tagged. I do tag all of my photos, and I don't boost untagged photos. And my process for tags is I get the whole post done. And then what I need to do is I click on my picture, which is there ready to go. And I actually use Siri to write the alt tag. And it really, it takes me 30 seconds to do it. It really is pretty easy. But what you'll see on .art anyway is the vast majority of the photos are alt tagged.
So, and by tagged, you mean a verbal description of the contents of the picture, like boy throwing a ball.
Did Dennis freeze? The answer is yes. Oh, wait, he's back.
So I talk about colors. My internet connection is unstable, it says.
That's okay.
So anyway.
You're back.
Yeah,
You just froze
so-
for a second.
Yeah. So anyway, I put in a description of the scene, the colors, the main subject. They're not really very long. They're like 30, 40 words is what I do, because they would have heard the text that I wrote with the picture too. But I'll show you a little bit about that when we do the demo. Okay, so we're up to demo time. And I'm going to do 2 demos. I'm going to first show you what the browser looks like, because that's where I'm suggesting you start. And then I'll do a demo of the iOS app I use, which is, the name is Tusker. And we'll talk a little bit about cropped and displayed photos. One of the things that bugs the heck out of me about Instagram is if I put up vertical photos, it usually crops them. And
Yep.
So And all right, it collapsed. So this is what the browser interface looks like. And the browser interface is pretty much, I think, the same for all the instances. Now, some of the instances will have a few features that the other ones don't. But here we go. The top list, which says Walmart and YouTube and stuff, is part of my browser. It isn't part of the internet, obviously. The A is for Amazon. That's the first one. So what you've got is you've got a field to type your post in, just like you would see anywhere else. You can add links, pictures, anything. And I will demonstrate posting on the app, not here. You can scroll through all of the recent posts, and it says 47 minutes ago, and I'm not going to update it because I really read it on the other. Up here are announcements that might want to look at. I have 40 notifications. I will tell you that the app I use doesn't clear the master and notification list, but it clears it where I use it, so that's fine. This one's interesting. Someone followed me who the person who runs .art thought was suspicious, so he put it in as a follow request. And you can have it so anyone who wants to follow you has to be requested and approved, and he just decided to do this for this person because he doesn't trust them, I guess. Over here, you can explore hashtags. Local is my server. So if I click on this, I will get a stream of all the posts going on my server. Now, it does them in chunks. It does it only when you tell it to update. Otherwise, it would be like a fire hose going by. It'll also show you the federated list. And here, federated means it will show you all of the posts from all of Mastodon streaming past you. And when I looked at it earlier today, it was about 1 a second is what I was seeing. You can send direct messages. When you post something, you can post it to public or just the person on the server or just the person mentioned in it, however you want. You can do bookmarks, favorites, and lists, and we'll talk about preferences when we get to the other app.
Are direct messages common on Mastodon, or are
Yes.
they reserved for special circumstances?
So, for instance, if someone has posted a picture that I have a question about that may not be relevant to anyone else, I will change my answer to be private, just so that I don't put that in the feed in front of everybody else on the server, just to not annoy them. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else here? If not that, we're going to move over to my iPad. So I know now I need to stop sharing first and come back and share again. And this is a new feature I found, is that it will, from the actually from my computer, it will share my iPad directly, and I don't have to log my iPad in. So
I do that with my phone.
yeah, same thing as the phone. It just takes it a second to get going here. There we go. Okay, so this is the app on my phone. It looks, as Lisa said earlier, it looks a lot like Twitter, and it certainly does. There are a few things, and I'm going to move this down here. So I have 27 posts I haven't seen, which is the 27 there, and the do not disturb is because I'm sharing from my iPad, so I think you saw that. So I have 27 posts I haven't seen, and I can scroll through them. Oops, I've scrolled through them on the iPad, of course, not on my computer. And you may see something that's a little not quite PG here, but you'll see the people I follow. Slashdot is, I think, the premier site for tech news, and I follow them, and it's actually a bot that echoes what's coming in on Slashdot on Twitter. And there are a couple of those at the moment, but We Owl Studio is one of the artists that I follow. There's one of the photographers I follow. Let's see what else we've got going here. Slashdot's been busier than usual. Oh, I follow Wikipedia, and I'm not sure I'm going to keep that because they keep putting things in other languages, which are not particularly interesting for me. So let's go find one. So Flipboard News, they've got like 6 or 8 news feeds. Flipboard is an old iOS app. And they've always charged for them, but they have put them on Mastodon for free. So you can read their culture stream for free. So here is a post from their culture desk. Now, if I slide it to the left, I can respond to it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to click to the left of the picture, and now it's brought it into focus. So that's the only thing on the screen. And down at the bottom, the left-hand icon is to send a response. So I'm going to tap that now, and you can see it says public, but I can send it as to followers only or mention people only, or however I want to do that. I'm not going to do that. The second one, the rocket ship, is boost, which is like share. So if I tap that, and then tap that, it'll boost it to my followers. So it'll show up like a shared something in Twitter. A star is just an act of appreciation. It doesn't change what people see or anything else. It's kind of a nice note back to the author is, yeah, I kind of like this one. The next one over, I don't recall what it is. The last one is the gear is always other things you can do. It will translate most languages. If you have reading posts in other languages, it does not translate Greek. I can tell you that because I follow somebody in Greek and they don't. But if you send them a message, they'll translate it for you. And you can look at that and bookmark it, etc. So, and then I'm going to go back to home. So that's an overview. Over here, I can see messages that have been directed to me. Here is my page. You can see I have 81 followers and I follow 132 people, and there are my last 2 posts. And I can actually share this page to anyone I like, and they will see it in the browser in this form. So that's my stuff. Bell is notifications. So those are people who have liked or boosted my things. There are a couple different search functions, and I'm not going to try to go into those, but there are all kinds of ways to search things I favorited, things I bookmarked, which is a feature I don't use. And then statistics about my posts, about how many people have looked at them, how many people have boosted them. Nothing profound lately. And then all the way up at the top are bar graphs of overall activity and such. So you get statistics, and that's just included. So this is my home page. So this is just the people I follow. Up at the top, if I click on home, it says home, local, and federated. So if I click local, and here's where we may be not safe for work, I get everything that's on the .art server. And you can see the first post was 35 seconds ago, then a minute ago, and 2 minutes ago, etc. There is a lot of pixel art and a lot of digital art. I don't tend to follow the digital or pixel artists. Some of the digital artists are really amazing, and I think I do follow 1 or 2 of those. So that's local. And then if you're really adventuresome, you can go, you can go and look at the federated list, which is everybody in the world. And these tend to be, viewed in seconds. Now, it's not showing new posts, and it won't unless I tell it to refresh. But this gives me the opportunity to scroll down. There is a lot of political stuff all over. There's also a lot of people complaining about Twitter. But I'll show you what I do with that. So I'm going to go back to my homepage. And I'm going to tap up here, and you see it says dinsmith.art. If I had another account, someone have a question?
Nope, I just said yes.
Okay, go ahead.
No, there's no question.
Okay, if I had an account on another server, I can add it here and switch between the 2. And I only have one at the moment, but let's go explore settings because there are a couple of interesting things in settings. Now, this is where all the apps are different, or they differ largely. The display, you can change the font, system size, what you see from people, action buttons. In some of them, you can change how photographs are displayed. The reason I moved to this client app was because the one I was using cropped all photos to 16:9 regardless. And that's a pet peeve because to me, my photographs, the crop is part of the art. And I thought they had missed the point, but anyway.
16:9, isn't that a cell phone ratio?
Some cell phones, yeah, not all cell phones. That's HDTV, I think, ratio.
Oh,
But if you've got a 4:5 vertical and they crop it to 16:9, it really looks weird. And who knows what you've got. So you really want to find an app that doesn't do that. The only other thing I wanted to show. Oh, content warnings. If you put up sensitive things, you're supposed to put warnings on them. And some people put up warnings for anything that's eye contact, for instance, or sensitive media. I have those turned off because really, if somebody puts up something pornish, I block them, so I never see them again, regardless. And favorite post, but there are a lot of these. Okay, that's the one I'm looking for that I don't see. Oh, browser. You can set it to open up when you click on a link, whatever browser you want. And I have mine go to DuckDuckGo, which is ostensibly the safest browser in the world. So now what I'm looking for, somewhere in these menus, there is a way to filter. And I have not found that at the moment. Maybe that's what this is. Oh, there we go. Here's the filters. It was down on the main screen. So I like cats, but what I found early on is on the dot art thing on Catterday, there are a million cat things. So I put in hashtags to block, to filter out, and so I don't see those. But as you can see here, I can filter out a keyword. For instance, hashtag your unfavorite politician, or filter out particular users as you see fit. And if I set the filter here, it's actually setting it on .art, so my browser will also honor those same filters. Okay, so that's the end of the demo. Are there other questions about the demo before we go back to the slides? So in order to join up, to sign up, you need to find a server that appeals to you. And if you use your search engine to look up Mastodon servers, you'll find a million sites who will help you find whatever you want. On mastodon.org, which is the main Mastodon thing, they only list about a dozen servers. And that is really an unfair representation, and they have been dinged with that, but so it is. As an artist, I'd start with mastodon.art. I mean, you can't lose. Mastodon.social is a specific, is the largest group, and it's too big. So when you talk about how Mastodon might be taken over, it's not inconceivable that Musk could buy Mastodon.social if they would sell it to him. Now, you could move off of that one immediately. Of course, he would try to block it, moving off it, I'm sure. But
one can hope the antitrust people would step in,
yeah,
block it.
So what I would do is you want to find one that's mid-sized, not too small, not too big, that you're comfortable with. And you can go create an account and log in. I suggest you start with the browser. When I was surveying, I used about maybe 6 or 8 different apps on my iPad before I picked one. And some of them don't support sign up and some of them do. But I think your best shot is to go to the web browser and join up there.
So you said that the /servers presents an incomplete list?
Yes, it lists only, last I looked, it only listed maybe 10 or 20 servers. But if you just use your web browser and do a search in whatever search engine you use, you'll find many sites that are search engines for Mastodon servers.
So just type in something like Mastodon servers.
Or Mastodon. Yeah, that would probably do it. Mastodon host, play around with it. You'll find lots. And you probably find your one with a writers group that way. Okay, so then the last subject, and this is what I've had to kind of figure out as I've gone, is curation. So to get started, I'd suggest what you do is find curators on the accounts on the server, curator accounts on the server that you signed in for. So there is a watercolor curator on .art. There is an oil painting curator. There is a main curator, and you'll probably get a message from the system when you first log on that offers links to all of those to make them easy to follow. So that's a good place to start. That'll get you a fair amount of activity, but not an unreasonable amount. Second thing I suggest you do is to go search for keywords and find people in there that you like. You can search keywords across many servers. That's beyond my demo today because I have to mess around to figure out how to do that every time I want to do it, but you can do that. If you watch the local time, you can add what interests you. So every now and then I turn on the .art and start looking through everything that's posted there, and I find new artists and new other things that are good to find.
Okay. The local means in your server?
Yeah, so that would be the Mastodon.art, the one I use in my case. So local, yeah. So going back to what I showed you, there is a home, which is just the view that is only the people I follow. There's a local view, which is everyone on my server, in this case, my case.art, and there's federated, which shows you everyone in the universe. And you can search any of those. The search on anything in the universe is very ineffective, I found, because you get so much junk back. But, such is life.
Is there a post length limit?
No, I don't think so. I think there is, but I think it's like 4,000 characters. It does vary based on the server you're on. There are people who post poems and short stories and things that I follow. And I guess I've seen things that were 40, 50 lines long, and I've never seen a novella. So, okay, and the last, one thing that will happen, and it took about a month for this happen to me, is I get overloaded. It's too much. You can't follow it. You lose interest. So what I started doing, and I still do this, is I unfollow less interesting people. There are people who I follow who, it's just a mistake, so I unfollow them. Such is life. There are also super posters. I have found people who repeatedly repost their entire portfolio, sometimes 10 pictures at a time. So what you can do in the gearbox of a post is you can tell a particular, you can unfollow that artist. So what I do is unfollow super posters. There really is no way to just see 5 of their posts a day or whatever. The other category is super boosters. And those are people who might boost 30 or 40 or 50 things a day. Now, there are a couple of those I follow because I really like what they share. One is a watercolor artist who I've chatted with. She's from Netherlands, and she boosts a lot of very interesting art, so I do follow her. And then if you have some people who tend to get lost, you can set up a notification on one person that you follow, so you'll be notified when they post. So when you get this problem, this is how you solve it. It'll take you a month or so to have this problem probably. And I have it completely under control. I probably see about 100 posts a day, and I could probably go through them in 5 minutes if I want to. There are other things I will go study or go look at links or whatever. So I might spend an hour a day with it. I'm using it for inspiration at the moment, and there is a lot of inspiring art. It works really well for that.
Well, it sounds like they also have lists so that you could set up a list, like for the Blackstone Valley Art Association, I was thinking, or some of the
Yes.
writing groups, so that you could follow those people more easily.
I think that's true, yes. But, you know, Blackstone Valley Art Association, the people don't post all that much. I would just follow them in my main list.
Okay.
So, but if you set up the list, I can follow the list. I
Okay.
can follow your list.
Mhm.
So, yeah, lots of ways. And there is another thing that's more private than lists, and I don't remember, at least I don't remember what it's called, but there is another thing for private groups that's set up, and one was offered to me and I didn't sign up for it just because I didn't think it was wasn't my thing. So anyway, that was it. Down at the bottom is what my address looks like. It's at densmith@mastodon.art. There's also a URL that will take you directly there, and I was going to add that to this slide, but I forgot to. So I'll put that on the Facebook group, and you'll be able to find that URL there. So any other questions?
Why is it named after an extinct elephant?
Hey, these are software people. How's that? Yeah, I have no idea. You know, these people are playful. If you go look at the feeds that come from the nonprofit organization that runs it, these people are a little bit wacky. Now they can do good tech stuff, but you know, sometimes software programs are a little unusual and fun.
Having been one, I can attest to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Lisa was never that way though, right, Lisa?
I've had many moments.
Yeah, I've had many moments too. So, okay. So if there aren't any other questions, that really is it for my talk. So, Lisa, you'll put this together as a video, and
Yes, I'll put it as a
and
video.
the video will be public, right?
Yes,
Because-
it'll be on the Blackstone Valley Art Association YouTube page.
Okay, good. All right. So
Well,
I'm done, and I'm handing it back to Lisa.
well, thank you so much for putting this together. I have been very interested in Mastodon, and I really appreciate the tutorial on this.
One thing I could do is, I don't know where you would use it, Lisa, but I could send you a PDF of the slides if you want.
I think they came through, I mean, you can certainly send it to me, but it looks like they came through very high quality in Zoom, so I could use it as a backup just in case I run into some sort of a problem.
Okay, I will do that. I will send it off. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. And if you get on and follow me and ask me questions, I will do my best to answer them. So,
Well, thank you very much. That was
Thank
interesting.
you.
okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, something new. Great.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to say goodbye, I guess.
All right.
Okay.
Have a great night, everyone. And I'll
Yep.
post this on YouTube tonight so you can watch for it there.
Okay.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for doing all that.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.